Welcome back. The police chief in Canada's capital has resigned over his handling of anti-vaccine protests that crippled parts of the country. Even though some key roadways have been unblocked, the conflict looks far from over.
It's what responsible leadership requires. These measures must be and will be compliant with the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was heckled by House of Commons members as he tried to justify invoking the Emergencies Act in response to protests across the country. The temporary 30-day measure gives the federal government additional special powers, including the ability to regulate public assembly, travel, and use of a property. And while authorities have now managed to clear out the previously blocked Ambassador Bridge, a key cross-border logistics artery connecting with the United States, the resentment is only just starting to show. The opposition accused Trudeau of failing to understand Canadians' pandemic fatigue.
Isn't it true that the Prime Minister's actions could serve to actually make things worse and not make things better? This is about the Prime Minister's ideological attachment to keeping COVID restrictions and mandates. Right. Conservatives presented a motion yesterday asking simply for a plan, but the Prime Minister is in denial and is ignoring the science. He might as well be back at the cottage because he's doing nothing productive or constructive to help this situation.
Trudeau has also just lost one of his key men in his continuing battle against the rallies. Ottawa's police chief Peter Slowly resigned amid fierce criticism of his department's inaction against the paralyzing rallies. He told the press the force is now better positioned to end the protests. The family of cinematographer Helena Hutchens, who died after being shot during the filming of a movie, is suing actor Alec Baldwin and the producers for wrongful death.
Somebody doesn't get shot on a movie set. I mean, when was the last time that happened? This doesn't happen unless people cut costs and engage in reckless behavior leading to a senseless, tragic death.
Baldwin said the gun went off when he was pointing it at Hutchens in the desert of New Mexico last October during a scene for the film Rust. The actor insisted that he did not pull the trigger. Investigators said weapons were not handled properly on the set of the movie, but it was too early to determine whether charges would be laid. Britain's Prince Andrew has settled a lawsuit brought against him by Virginia Giuffre, who accused him of sexually assaulting her when she was 17.
I think Prince Andrew didn't really have any alternative but to settle. He's already reputationally toast. His reputation has been irretrievably tarnished by these allegations made by Virginia Giuffre. And of course, the fact that they've now been settled will not assist him in any other way reputationally.
Under the deal filed in a New York court, Andrew will contribute a substantial sum to a charity chosen by Giuffre. The prince had denied the allegations against him, and there was no admission of guilt in the settlement. Giuffre, who's now 38, claimed that she was assaulted 3 times. She said she was a victim of disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, who was found dead in his New York jail cell 3 years ago while awaiting a sex trafficking trial. Inflation has fallen in China, with consumers having to fork out less money, especially for food. Factory gate inflation also cooled as the authorities vowed to keep prices in check. Chloe Feng reports.
Inflation on the mainland eased last month, with consumers welcoming a drop in food prices. Figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics today show that the consumer price index rose by 0.9% from a year ago. That was significantly lower than the 1.5% rise in December. Food prices fell by 3.8%, a faster pace than the drop in December. This was mainly driven by a 41.6% plunge in the price of pork, the mainland's favorite meat, while vegetables were 4.1% cheaper. On the industrial front, the producer price index rose by 9.1% last month. down from 10.3% in December. The increase was the slowest in 6 months as the government ensured supply and price stability, particularly for coal and steel. Lower inflation will give the central bank more options to boost the economy.
So I guess, there will be room for more monetary expansion to stimulate a faster economic recovery. Nothing is better than having a low inflation rate environment, allowing more room for interest rate cuts. If the interest rate can be lowered, higher money supply in the economy is going to provide more liquidity, and that is going to encourage more consumption and investment.
Tang said domestic production has helped China avoid supply chain disruptions plaguing other major economies. Chloe Fong, HKIBC.
Local stocks advanced today despite a worsening COVID crisis as investors looked beyond the city's borders for incentives. The Hang Seng Index rose 1.5% on growing optimism over Ukraine and hopes that low inflation on the mainland will lead to interest rate cuts. Mainland internet titans were hot favorites, with Alibaba jumping 3.5% ahead of its earnings report next week. Food delivery platform Meituan gained 2.5%, and market heavyweight Tencent finished 1.3% higher. A look at the markets now. The Hang Seng Index closed up 363 points. Top 10 active stocks, the Tencent was up $6.20, Meituan up $5.40, Alibaba up $4.10, Wuxi Bio down 55 cents. Tracker Fund up 36 cents, AIA up $1.60, Kuaishou up $5, Ping An up $2.25. Over to foreign exchange rates. The euro is at $8.87, British pound $10.58, Canadian dollar $6.15. In the foreign markets, the UK FTSE is down 21 points. And finally, a look at the weather before we go. It will be cloudy with a few rain patches tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 16 and 18 degrees. More of the same over the next few days, with the mercury dipping to as low as 11 degrees on Saturday. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. And that's our main news for Wednesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Wynna Wong. Thanks for watching. Good night.